Hi, my name is Kevin Dawson. What I wanted to do for this year's Justice Con was take a look at the idea of taking something from one medium, the comic book medium in this example, and transferring it to live action. But what I wanted to focus on was the idea of taking these already established characters, this time being Jessica Cruz from the Green Lantern Corps, and adapting her in my own way while still maintaining the core of the character and figuring out which side characters to throw in to help support her personal story and her arc and how it would go. This is a script I've been working on for over a year now, put a lot of time and effort into, and so what I wanted to do is just showcase a little bit of what I have for you guys so far. So I'll be putting in a few scenes of the script that I've been working on with a few very gifted actors who were so kind to work with me on this. And I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what it can look like, what goes into it, the thought process behind each decision I make for the characters I'm putting in there. Hopefully you all enjoy it, and I'm very excited to share it with you. So thank you. Part 1. Developing your lead. So, developing your lead. I mean, with a comic book property like this, it's pretty easy to kind of diagnose who your lead is going to be. You know, it's Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz, you know, there's not a lot of avenues for who that can be. But I think the important thing when diagnosing a lead character is that you want to see which character you feel the most drawn to writing. Who you think deserves to carry a movie, and how you think you can service them carrying that movie through your writing. What are you going to do? What's the journey you're going to take them on? And it's funny because, you know, I spent much of my life looking at comic books and reading them and thinking one day I'm going to write a screenplay about one of these characters, and I think I kind of just, you know, naturally assumed that the character I was going to write about would be Batman. I mean, because obviously I'm a little bit of a fan. But I don't know, something happened. I came across a couple of Jessica Cruz comics. I heard she crossed over with Batman, which was my reason for getting into reading them, I will fully admit. However, you begin reading about her, you follow the story that she's on, you realize this could make for an amazing movie. And it's an aspect of superhero culture that doesn't get examined that often, which is the mental health aspect. I don't think it's ever been examined to the extent that it is with Jessica Cruz, and the way that it's just a constant in her life. You know, it's as much a part of her as breathing, as eating, as anything, is the fact that every day of her life is just another continuation of this battle she has internally just to make sure that she can do this job. So when I came across Jessica Cruz, immediately I knew that that was the character, that I had to write about her. Like, I had to. And I think that's the important thing to diagnose when you're going to write something. If you read something and in your mind you look for any reason to say that you shouldn't do this, and it's just, I have to do this, I have to write this, like, this has to be what I do. That's when you know you found something that you're really going to put your heart into, and that's when you're going to have something special. So make sure you diagnose that whenever you're going over something like this. So when diagnosing that I wanted Jessica Cruz to be a lead, I had to decide, okay, what am I going to focus on with her? What's going to be the pillars of her character that I'm going to make prevalent through this whole script? So, the mental health aspect, which we know, which starts from the beginning, from the very intro, spoiler on the opening scene, if anyone who hasn't read Jessica Cruz yet. She's on a hunting trip. In the comics, it was with a group of friends. I decided to alter that just a little bit in my script and make it, she was on a hunting trip with her family, because I wanted it to be a little more of a deep personal loss for her in that sense. Like, deep, like, you know, losing her family, because I think it amps up the kind of arc that she can go on a little bit more and makes it a little more intense for her. Which is another thing when you're writing something. You decide what you want to alter and what you want to keep the same, as long as you're true to the character. So that's a change I made. She's on a hunting trip. They come across a mob hit that's going on. Jessica loses her father and her little brother in the woods that morning. And everything changes for her. Her agoraphobia, her paranoia, her anxiety, everything gets ramped up to 11 inside of her. So it locks her away, and for 4 years she's locked away in her apartment because she's afraid not only that those people may come back and find her, but also that she and herself is a danger to her sister and her niece who weren't part of that trip that day because her sister was taking care of her newborn, which was her niece at the time. So she wasn't part of the trip, and that lives in Jessica's head. In Jessica's head, if she even comes into contact with her sister for a moment, it makes her sister a target. So that is what builds all of that inside Jessica. So, keeping that in mind, keeping the struggles, all of that in mind, this first scene that I want to show you revolves around that. Revolves around the first interaction in the script between Jessica and her sister, and Jessica's just stubbornness and refusal to let her sister become a target by coming in contact with her. So enjoy this scene with these two gifted actresses. Thank you so much. Exterior. Jessica's apartment complex hallway, noon. The hallway for Jessica's floor of her apartment is empty. Light coming in from the windows. Jessica walks towards her front door. She stops and sighs.
You can't keep coming here.
Jessica looks to her left down the hall and sees her older sister, Sara, standing there. Sara continues coming to see Jessica, even though Jessica has removed herself from her life.
Why not? Might as well.
Well, now you might as well leave.
Jessica takes out her keys and attempts to open the door. Sara comes up to her and gets closer than Jessica would prefer.
Jessica, please. I'm tired of this.
Don't stand so close. Please.
Sara takes a step back. She cares for her sister. She shows respect to her anxiety struggles and doesn't want to agitate them. Jessica takes a breath and sets her grocery box down.
I'm sorry, Sara. I really am.
She looks at Sara, and you can see how sorry she is in her eyes.
You don't have to be sorry. I just want you to talk to me. It's been 4 years. Why can't you just talk to me? Why are you always avoiding me? I want you in my life, Jess.
I can't be. I'm sorry, but you just don't understand.
You're right. I don't. And the only way I could if I was there. And I wasn't. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't, but I want you to talk to me. Talk to me about nothing. Talk to me about anything. Just talk to me.
Sara has so much pain in her voice. She is begging for her sister to come back to her. Sara feels the same guilt that Jessica feels, just with a different focus. Jessica wants to comfort her sister, but can't bring herself to. She opens her door and goes inside. Sara follows her to the doorway and looks inside. She sees Jessica's studio apartment and notices her bed. More specifically, she notices the shotgun under her bed. She also notices the alcohol in her grocery box.
Jessica, what are you afraid of?
Jessica looks away from her sister, feeling shame.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
Jessica did not want Sara to ever see her like this.
I'm sorry, Sara, but you don't want to know what I'm afraid of, and I don't want to tell you.
Jessica closes the door on her sister. Sara stands on the other side, heartbroken.
You want me to leave, Jessica? You want me to stop coming here? If you keep this door closed right now, that is exactly what you'll get.
Silence. Sara becomes flustered, angry, and desperate. Her final plea to her sister.
Your niece doesn't even know who you are. What do I tell her? I'm to the point where I'm just going to tell her that you died in the woods that day because that's what this feels like.
Sara waits for a response, waits to see her sister come back to her. None of this happens. Jessica has shut her out. Cut to interior Jessica's apartment doorway.
Jessica is sitting with her back against the door. She is clutching her mouth and crying.
Fine. Wish granted, Jessica. You'll never see me again.
There is silence for a moment. The reality sets in on Jessica. Her relationship with her sister is over.
Part 2. Choosing your villains. Beautiful scene work right there. I think the great thing about that scene that we just saw is the showcasing of just the final breaking point for Jessica. You know, the realization that in this moment, this last sacrifice for her is completely severing ties with her sister. The last family she has in the world. You know, and all the pain she feels, but not wanting to show any of that pain to her sister, because even the hint that this is a difficult decision for Jessica would entice her sister to keep coming back and keep trying. So I love the idea of just showing that, just that final brokenness and that final sacrifice by Jessica. As I think in order for that to really come across is that it has to come from that place in Jessica's heart where she's just determined to do the right thing, and she, you know, doesn't care about how she feels. She just wants to make sure that the people she cares about can stay safe. And I think this is a great way of showing those kind of qualities that, while maybe not attracting the type of ring at first that she needs, would open up the possibility of her being chosen by the correct power ring in the future. But speaking of power rings, the next part of this I want to talk about is choosing the right villains to service your story. Who's the antagonist who's going to continue Jessica's arc and her journey, while at the same time having their own wants and desires that can be clearly showcased, and how those can intersect into a very, very interesting thing to watch on screen. With this, I decided to go with two villains. I went with the Power Ring of Volthoom, because that's kind of the, you know, that's the real villain for Jessica, you know, kind of the personification of her internal struggles. That's the corrupted power ring that comes into Jessica's life and attaches itself to her and basically can possess her and can use her body to do what it wants, while at the same time completely draining the life out of her body, taking advantage of all the fear and anxiety and pain that Jessica carries and using that against her. I think it's a villain that can really be turned into something that can represent so many things. A big, you know, a gaslighting nature, just you know, you need me, you can't do this without me, I'm who makes you strong, I'm what you need, that kind of stuff, which can really provide some amazing character development for Jessica, and why this ring is such a great villain. However, the ring is not necessarily a physical opponent to Jessica. It's a mental, it's an emotional obstacle, an emotional antagonist for Jessica. So in keeping with that, I have another villain, a more physical threat who's parallel to Jessica in a lot of ways, has their own struggles, their own journey. I don't want to give away too much about this other villain, but I will say one thing, and you can just fill in the blanks from there. This other villain is the daughter of Darkseid. Shh. Half Themysciran. Shh. Okay, so that's the other villain. And with her, I added a lot of background elements, a lot of detailed elements, but with her, a lot more of the story is given away for this script, which is stuff that I don't necessarily want to give away right now. I like to hold on to that. But needless to say, well, we all know her name, Grail, is the main antagonist of the piece. She's the one who's on her own journey, similar to Jessica, but different. So, and I think showing kind of a disturbed, kind of broken antagonist to pair alongside Jessica has a really interesting element. But the villain I want to showcase for you right now in this next bit of scene work is the Power Ring of Volthoom. And in helping me do that is Alicia, again in the role of Jessica Cruz, and my friend and talented actor Darren Martin playing the role of the Power Ring.
A knock on the door. Jessica, startled, just sits and stares at her door. Again, a knock. Jessica moves to her bed and grabs her shotgun. She advances to the door. Everything is quiet and tense. She's afraid that this is the moment that she has spent 4 years fearing. She looks through the peephole. The hallway is empty. She backs away, confused. Finally, after several moments, she turns her back. Then, the door is blown down in a blast of green energy. Jessica is thrown back into the wall. She crawls to her shotgun and gets to her knees and aims at the smoking doorway. Through the smoke, she sees nothing. Suddenly, a voice is heard, one that is menacing but simultaneously sardonic. This is Power Ring.
Jessica Cruz, you have been chosen.
Jessica fires a shot into the smoke. Silence, then.
That wasn't a very nice introduction.
Through the smoke, a green light suddenly breaks through. Jessica stands dumbfounded by what is happening. The ring floats towards her, speaking directly into her head.
What the hell is this?
It isn't a dream. I know that's what you must be thinking. The frightened always do, and you are frightened, aren't you?
Jessica staggers to her feet, keeping the ring in her sights.
What are you doing here?
I'm here because you have been chosen.
Yeah, I heard you the first time.
Well, but you won't let me finish, Jessica.
Jessica has lost patience.
Then tell me.
My dear Jessica, you have been chosen to help me annihilate this pathetic little planet.
Jessica is frozen. She wants to believe that she is dreaming, but she knows that that's not true.
No. No way. You've made a mistake. You clearly picked the wrong person.
The ring advances. Its words continue toying with her.
Oh, Jessica, the mistake is thinking that you have a choice. Every decision I make with certainty.
Jessica backs into the kitchen. The ring follows.
You can't hide from this. We all have a destiny, and this is yours.
I'm not hiding, and this is not my destiny.
Jessica tries to walk away, but the ring is blocking her.
Oh, but you are hiding, Jessica. You've been hiding for 4 years?
Jessica is seething in rage. She is being forced to tap back into memories she only wants to bury.
Hiding from that mistake that you made? The people you got killed.
Killed. This word sticks with Jessica. In her quietest moments, it's how she sees herself. The person who got her family killed.
How do you know that? Nobody knows that.
I know everything about you. I know how alone you are, how weak you are. Most importantly, how frightened you are. And I know you will do everything I tell you because that fear consumes every thought that you have.
Jessica raises her shotgun to the ring, a flurry of rage and anxiety and fear guiding her movements.
Maybe I should pay a visit to your sister and your niece first.
Jessica unloads the shotgun. 5 shots fired right where the ring was floating. Jessica lowers it and sees that the ring is gone. Silence. It is brief.
Your fear.
Jessica lifts her left arm. The power ring has attached itself to her finger. She tries to shake it off, but it won't budge. She keeps shaking her hand frantically.
It's delicious.
Jessica is hit with a burst of energy that pulses through her body. The veins on her body illuminated green. The ring is merging completely with her nervous system.
Part 3. Wonderful work again. You're going to catch me saying that a couple more times. But again, you see that right there. This all the fear and anger and anxiety of Jessica coming out, and the way the ring attaches itself to each one of those and manages to use them and absorb them and get them out of her. And the way the ring purposefully toys with Jessica kind of plays up that aspect, that real, just parasitic nature of the ring, which I love, which is so good. There's some really, really cool stuff that comes out of the ring in this that I hope you all can see one day, hopefully. But yeah, so that's my taste of the villain nature of this, and also gives you an idea of what Jessica's arc is going to be for much of this piece. And that's sort of just struggling to overcome this ring, the idea that she can't hide from all this pain that she feels anymore, because now she has something that can literally use that to take life, to end life, to destroy worlds. You know, she has that at her hand now. So she has no choice but to go on this personal journey now. But let's get into the next part of this, why don't we? Developing the side characters. How do they, the supports, help to advance the story of the lead? Who in this can be close with Jessica, who she has to build relationships with, who can take her to this place of discovery, of learning herself, of this journey, of getting where she needs to be? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to add in the sort of mentor guidance aspect of the story. You know, people who know what Jessica is going through to an extent and can help her along this path. So I decided to go with two. Pretty obvious ones, but nonetheless, I went with two. I went with Batman because, as I said, I got into it reading the script because of Batman, reading the comics because of Batman. And that scene everyone knows with Batman and Jessica when he's talking to her, helping her talk through the ring, helping her depower it, helping her overcome it. It's beautiful work. So I wanted to make sure that Batman is a featured part of this. So Batman is the one who is introduced to her first. Through Batman, she's able to get out of that. It's kind of a strong recreation of that scene from the comics after he talks her down, except he gets her away from everybody to the watchtower and keeps Jessica there, and you know, they kind of talk through everything together. And this is where Jessica, for really the first time, you know, is just tired of everything that's been happening. You know, she had to say goodbye to her sister. She had to go through all this stuff with the ring. She had to go through all this stuff the ring made her do during that night. And now she's completely taken away from everything she knows, and the only person around to talk to her is Batman. But the important thing about Batman is that he sees Jessica not as some type of, you know, monster, someone who needs, you know, some type of righteous hand of justice. He sees her as someone who just needs to understand this power, and the only thing he wants to do is help her. So I want that to showcase here, but I also want to showcase all the pain that Jessica is feeling and the anger at her situation. So for this next scene, I have Alicia as Jessica again, and my other good friend and actor, Jacob Lowry, playing the role of Batman for me. So enjoy this scene, and I'll be right back with you.
People got hurt because of me last night.
It wasn't because of you. You were a
Look, I appreciate what you did last night, and I'm glad you got me away from everybody. But what happens when I go back and this demon ring decides to nuke Metropolis? I'm sorry, but I need to get as far away as possible while I'm still in control.
Batman crosses over to Jessica.
Jessica, you aren't here as a prisoner.
Then what am I here for? Because I'm really not trying to be a guest.
A power ring, even one like this, never makes a choice at random. You were chosen for a reason.
Jessica walks away from Batman. She sees no higher purpose in her life.
It chose me because I'm weak enough that it can manipulate me. It told me that as soon as it met me.
I don't see it that way. You had every opportunity to murder everyone in your path last night, and you resisted.
Because you stopped me.
I spoke to you. You didn't have to listen. I didn't incapacitate you. No tricks, no deceptions. You did that, Jessica.
Jessica thinks back to the night.
You said the ring speaks to you.
It was before. Not so far today.
That's because I'm guessing for the first time it wasn't in control.
Jessica looks down at the ring.
You control the ring, Jessica. You're more than what it tells you. I know you know that.
Jessica clutches her fist.
You can tell me that I'm stronger than the ring. You can give me every pep talk you know. It doesn't change what I've seen. Images that haunt me every time I close my eyes. It's a fear that feels as real now as it did when I lost everything in the woods that morning. I know what I did last night, and I know why you think it means that I'm capable of so much more. But the ring doesn't care about any of that. All it takes is one moment of fear coming back into my head, and this ring will light everything up.
Fear doesn't make you weak.
Well, as long as I have this ring on my finger, I'm dangerous. He told me himself. And if you hadn't saved him, then Giovanni Bernardi would have died last night.
Jessica gets right in the Batman's face, both of them unflinching.
And it's because I want him dead. I know that you're the Batman, and you don't let shit like that into your head. But the truth is, every night for 4 years, I've imagined him dead. And I carry that. So stop pretending that you know me.
Great work again. Once again. One more time you get to hear me say that. But I love it. I love that, just all of that coming out of Jessica in this moment, and the fact that this is some almost godlike figure standing in front of Jessica, and she's just so over everything she's been through that she's just like, I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care about any of this. Like, I didn't ask for any of this. Like, Jessica just being this unwilling and just angry hostage to this whole situation. So that's part of the journey for Jessica, coming from these feelings of, I don't understand why any of this came my way. I've never shown an interest in anything like this, and now I am a vessel for one of the most dangerous pieces of energy in the world. Like, how am I supposed to get through this? And Batman, for all of his amazing gifts, is not, he knows about Lantern life, he knows about that stuff through his experience with them, but he can't give her any guidance on how to really work with the ring. But you know who can? Hal Jordan. And with Hal Jordan, I had a great bit of fun sort of redesigning him for my piece, because I wanted to give him a different kind of feel, a different energy to him, a different interpretation than we're used to seeing from Hal Jordan. So I decided to age him a bit. I wanted to do an older Hal Jordan. So this is a Hal Jordan who's older than Batman, a Hal Jordan who sort of predates the Justice League a bit. Like, he's the longest running hero for Earth at this time, although due to reasons that you'll see in the script, he has not been on Earth in quite a while. I just really wanted to play up that aspect. Took a lot of inspiration from Paul Newman, particularly Cool Hand Luke era Paul Newman. That was kind of my thought process, my inspiration when I was designing Hal Jordan for this piece. Someone who's very cocky, very kind of has that energy to them, but at the same time has a genuine core of caring and wanting to help people and wanting to do all of that. So it's kind of that ongoing battle inside of him as well. Those defense mechanisms he's built up, kind of that sarcastic, kind of jerk energy that is purposefully to keep people pushed away from him, because the idea of having people close to him again is too much for him to really handle. You know, he prefers to be a loner just because of how he sees himself. So I think playing that aspect and having a Hal Jordan from that type of world interact with Jessica Cruz now would provide the ultimate just great piece of mentorship. And he's the one who has the most screen time with Jessica in this piece. It's mostly Jessica and Hal. Batman's in it a little bit, but not a lot. I think just enough. But Hal is the definitive co-lead to Jessica in this piece. So, with that in mind, this is after Jessica and Hal have gone through their training. You know, Hal's kind of had that energy of that, like, you know, what do you do it? Like, why do I have to help you? Like, kind of the unwanting mentor. But he sees everything that Jessica is going through and all the pain she has and how hard she's trying just to keep everything under control this whole bit. So this is the scene when Hal decides to just take Jessica to a quiet place, and for the first time the entire piece, someone is legitimately just talking to Jessica. Just speaking to Jessica like a person. And that was the important thing with both of these mentor scenes, is I did not want any bit of it to feel like they were ever talking down to Jessica. They have to see Jessica as a person. Jessica is treated like a person. And that was the important thing. These aren't mentors who think they're better. These are people who want to help Jessica. So in this scene, this is the first time when Jessica is in a quiet, comfortable place where she can just talk. So, enjoy Alicia Nava as Jessica Cruz, and, because of some scheduling issues, me stepping in to read Hal Jordan alongside her, and my good friend Rebecca Nagel reading the descriptive lines for this scene.
Exterior, space. Hal has formed a perch for him and Jessica to sit on. They overlook the vast solar system.
I'm sorry.
For what?
Well, it occurs to me I've never asked you about yourself.
Jessica is silent. The last thing she wants to do is open up a wound again.
This isn't for training. You're not alone here. I'm sorry for rushing you so much. I haven't had to spend time outside the Lantern Corps in years. I think I forgot how to actually talk to people in a normal way.
Jessica interjects quickly. She asks a question that has been on her mind since they met.
Why did you leave Earth?
Hal tenses. He hasn't had to face his mortality this way in years.
Sorry, but if you want me to open up, then I have to know. I've been wondering about it since you showed up.
Hal understands. He knows he has to face his issues just as much as she has to face hers.
I had to face my mortality. The League was on a mission, nothing we hadn't handled before. Me and Shazam were flying Scout when a shot was fired between us. Nothing new, nothing that hadn't happened to me a million times before, but I felt this pain in my chest. I was certain that I'd been shot, but it was a heart attack. And I plummeted. And the next thing I remember, I woke up in the operating room and I saw Shazam laying next to me. He went after me and took fire trying to get me out of there.
Jessica is shocked. A superhero having a heart attack?
It's kind of funny in a way. Limitless power at my fingertips, and the thing that takes me down is a bad heart. I blame myself for him getting hurt. I mean, he could have died out there.
He looks over at Jessica. He is finally showing the leadership of a founding Justice League member.
Whatever it is you're afraid of, Jessica, I can promise you that it's always going to live inside of you. Now, others will tell you that you can move on from it or that you can bury it, but that's only temporary. The best thing you can do is learn to live with it.
He becomes emotional as he looks back on his life.
I used to fly jets. I flew them because my father was my hero. One day I saw his plane burst into flames right in front of me. Now, you might ask why I would choose to fly. Didn't it terrify me, the thought that I might die the same way he did? And it did. I was terrified every time I stepped into the cockpit, but I made a friend of my fear and masked it with cockiness. I pushed people away, and I tested my limits constantly. And after my heart attack, I realized I couldn't do that anymore. I let the fear consume me, and I stayed here on Oa. And the Earth has remained unprotected by the Lantern Corps since.
Jessica looks off into space, seeing the beauty but also the emptiness. Jessica is moved by Hal's sincerity. For the first time, she wants to open up.
I lost everything years ago. My father, my brother Justin. I think I buried the thought of them deep inside me. I only wanted to think of them as symbols in my life, and not as people. Made it seem less real. A couple days ago, I pushed away the only family I have left, and it opened the wounds back up again. That's when this ring found me. It knows how much it can drain out of this wound.
And that's what I have to show you guys today. It's a piece that I believe very strongly in, something I've put a lot of work into. I started writing this just about a year ago now. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of when I started writing this. Lockdown began. I decided, I had all this extra time. I was going to challenge myself to do something. And I'd always said, in all my time writing, one of these days I'm going to write a comic book adaptation for the screen. One thing led to another. I came across Jessica Cruz. I had a feeling that was going to be the one. And it just took a life from there. And it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of analyzing, a lot of outside opinion, a lot of just workshopping, getting into a place where I really believe in it. And something that I wanted to parallel with something that I heard Ray Fisher talk about with Zach and Chris Terrio when they were writing Justice League is Zach and Chris bringing Ray into the writer's room to help write about the cyborg experience, like what Victor Stone's life was like, putting those aspects into that. Similarly with this, I brought Alicia in with me a lot when I was writing for Jessica, because while I can speak to the mental health aspect of this a lot, because that's something that I have been through myself, I wanted to make sure that I was writing a woman for the screen that would be done properly and done justice, and she was able to help me explain things that just kind of went over my head a little bit while I was writing, so she was able to help me get that. So for Alicia, I want to say thank you so much for giving me those little bits of notes in this to help me get it to a place where I believe Jessica is truly a incredible character to follow in this script. Now, who knows what the future holds? I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, but I'm just glad that finally, after a year of working on this, I'm able to share a piece of it with all of you. And I hope you enjoy it, and maybe we'll see more of it one day soon. But for right now, I just want to say thank you for following me on this workshop. Thank you to the Queens of Justice Con for giving me this opportunity to share this. It means more than I could ever properly put into words. Everybody enjoy the rest of Justice Con. Hello, Zach. I hope to say hello to you in person one day, but for right now, I just want to say thank you for all the inspiration you as a person and you as your work have given to me. Truly cannot be said enough, the impact you've had on my life. So thank you. Everyone have a good rest of Justice Con.